Hey everybody,
Hi,
welcome
guys.
to the Marvel Heroes PvP live stream. I am Andrew Rubino. I'm a senior designer. To my right is another fine Andrew.
Hi, I'm Andrew Schramm. I'm a gameplay engineer here at Gazillion.
And we're here to talk about PvP. I'm sure a lot of you have already checked it out on Test Center and are eager to check it out in the upcoming weeks. We just wanted to kind of give a quick overview and answer a bunch of your questions. So if you have any, feel free to bombard our Skype channel with it. Or excuse me, our Twitch channel. Monitoring your questions is the always pleasant Ronir.
Oh.
Right over there. You can't see him, but he's there.
He's there.
So we'll do a quick overview of PvP, and then I guess we'll get to questions. So, PvP in Marvel Heroes. Our first PvP mode is Fire and Ice, where two teams of 5 will compete against each other, escorting their golems in an effort to destroy their opponent's defenders and ultimately their guardian. And if you destroy your opponent's guardian, you win. That's kind of it in a nutshell. There are a lot of nuances to that. You want to add anything to that, Mr.
Right now,
Schramm?
what you'll be seeing on the screen is the team on the left there, the fire team for this match, is running down the path, and you can see them escorting their golems, and they are here to... They've kind of met in the middle with the opponent team, the ice team, and already things are getting off to a pretty
weird start. So the first thing that we want to talk about with PvP is probably the first thing that you guys want to talk about with PvP, which is balance. You want to talk about balance, Nimsar? You should be. Okay.
No balance? Okay, well, I think Mr. Rubino can handle that.
I think I can handle it.
Okay, balance.
So, balance of PvP. It isn't balanced right now. We know that. The reason that we have it on Test Center and the reason we want to release it to you guys is because we need your help in balancing it. As you guys play, we're collecting metrics. Obviously, we're always checking out the forums. So if you guys see something that feels too powerful, not powerful enough, the hero feels too strong, too weak, too anything, post it to the forums, let us know. We'll be making a lot of changes. One thing to add, we are not going to change PvE to make PvP more balanced.
Absolutely will
not going to happen. We have tools that we're able to make changes that only affect PvP. So if a particular move is too powerful or too weak in PvP, we'll make the adjustment for that. It will not affect PvE, not part of the game plan. And when I say balance, I'm talking everything from powers to items to the runes you pick up in PvP to the HP and damage of the golems, the defenders, the guardians, the whole 9 yards. So, yeah.
Why don't you, you mentioned runes right there. Why don't, we're actually at a good point right now where the guy driving is just died and he's back at his base and he's going to pick up some runes here. There's a lot available. There's 3 different vendors, a offense vendor, a defense vendor, and a utility rune vendor. And he's going to, maybe you can take a look at some of those. What are some of your builds, Andrew?
It really depends on what character I'm playing. I play a lot of Human Torch, who I really like, but he is not great at taking out the defenders, mostly because his AoE attacks constantly cause him to get targeted by them.
Yep.
So his build, I usually focus on raw damage, taking the damage buff and the crit damage buff. I also find that I believe it's the Dark Soul rune that gives you health back when per hit is pretty good with him. But if I was playing somebody like, I know he's a little OP right now, but like Wolverine, who's the opposite, is really good at taking out defenders and guardians.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would probably focus more on defense, and there's, I think it's the Siege Breaker rune, allows me to do more damage against
the defenders. And
defenders. It's more expensive. It's like 100 runestones.
Yeah.
But super useful.
So right now, actually, what you're seeing on your screen, he's in the middle of the battle, and when you see those orange flashes, those circles kind of flashing, those are the runes. So as you fight, I noticed a couple people in the forums have asked, how are people wonder how the runestone number on the right and the bottom right of your screen is going up. That's happening from him picking up those orange runestones. They're a lot like orbs, and they are not shared. So when they spawn, just like all the other items in the game, they're just for you. So just go vacuum them up, and when you get back to your base, make sure to visit the vendor.
Yeah, very important. One change that I believe is coming down the pipe with the runestones is that they're going to act more like orbs and be drawn to you, so you don't have to walk right on top of them. Right now, you just get near them and they vanish, but we are working on that. As we're working on everything with this mode, you expect to see a lot of improvements from here on out. Ryan, do we have any questions or anything? We can keep on describing it.
You guys should go.
Keep going? We're going to keep going.
Yeah.
So I didn't.
So
So let's talk about some basics of PvP.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can get into PvP as soon as you're level 20. 20 and higher, you're all set. You can access PvP by going to the Challenges tab of any waypoint. That's terminals, that's the waypoints you see throughout the story mode, anywhere. And PvP is broken up into level bands. So there's 20 through 29, 30 through 39, so on and so forth. Level 60 has its own band. So the idea behind this is to try to keep things a little bit close together in terms of power. We don't want somebody playing with somebody 30 levels higher than them getting stomped. We also do some improvements, not some improvements, we buff you a little bit if you're below the max level for that band. We give you a little bit of a damage buff, and that buff gets reduced the closer you get to that band. We're not saying it brings perfect parity, but it does bring things a lot closer, and it's one of those things that we'll be adjusting. So talking more about balance, because I know that's a hot issue right now, just to give you an idea of some of the tools that we have at our disposal.
Yeah.
We can, and everything I'm about to say, by the way, is only for PvP. We can, as you see, we can adjust cooldowns. We can adjust the damage of an attack or power if we want to. We just recently got the ability to adjust the amount of incoming damage that a hero would take. So if we find that a hero in PvP is just getting hammered, we might reduce the amount of damage that they take. We also just got the ability to increase somebody's damage in PvP. So again, if we felt that a hero is just not outputting enough damage in a normal PvP match compared to other people, other heroes rather, we can make that adjustment as well. And we'll be getting more functionality as we need it. Obviously, there's a lot of work to get this game balanced, this mode balanced, and we're going to do it. And we, as I said before, we need your help.
One thing we can talk about a little bit is that we are gathering lots of metrics from everyone's play in the test center. We hope to do the same once the mode goes live in the future. And all those metrics, so every time you're playing the game, we're taking lots of data just to help us balance from kind of a objective point of view. Obviously, the forums where people have a lot of subjective opinions on how they feel is super important to us too. We're paying very close attention to all of that. Already we've made changes based on those things. I know you've been scouring the forums so that when it hits live, you know, some of the problems we had in Test Center are already solved. Yeah.
And look, as Doomsaw has said on the forums a bunch of times, obviously it's never going to be perfectly super balanced, but the goal here is to make it as fun as possible.
Absolutely.
We don't ever want to put you in a situation where you've got your favorite hero, you spent all this time leveling him up, and you really want to play PvP, but you feel like it's pointless because your hero just feels so useless. That's not fun. That's not the point of this mode. We want every hero, no matter what level, to be able to jump in and have a good time. One thing I also wanted to talk about that's not the balance is PvP rewards.
Oh, rewards, yeah. What happens when you win or lose a match?
I will tell you, Andrew.
Oh, can't wait.
Thank you. So our goal with PvP, in terms of how it fits into the whole game, is we want it to just be, it's another mode that you can play to continue to level up your character and earn rewards, just like any other mode in the game. So if you like PvP, you can play that, and every time you complete a match, win or lose, you're going to get a mission that rewards you with experience, credits, items, including possibility of getting cosmics, eternity splinters, and golden crowns, which is PvP-specific currency I'll get to in a moment. The purpose of this is that no matter what mode you play in Marvel Heroes, you will still be leveling up and getting rewards at roughly the same rate. So if you're a guy who loves PvP, you can do that. And if your buddy loves Midtown and he's doing that, you guys are still going to be basically staying on the same pace. Obviously, we'll be tuning it as necessary, but we want to make sure that you never feel like, well, I could do PvP, but I really want to level, so I'm not going to do that even though I'd like to. That's no fun. We want you to really feel free to play whatever mode you want. The only difference between winning and losing right now is that the winner gets, I believe, 2 items instead, no, 3 items.
So besides
you
get, so a winner or a loser will both take home a golden crown. They'll also take home 2 eternity splinters, and that's all being worked on. But in addition to that, the winner is going to take home 2 purple items with chances for, you know, obviously spiking, and the loser will take home a purple item and a blue item.
Yeah.
So and it's just a small rarity difference between the two. Obviously, it's great to win, but if you're here playing PvP, we want to reward you, and you know, that's how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Feel free to give feedback, but that's what's in right now.
Yeah, please do. Now, golden crowns. These are really cool. Golden crowns you only get for participating in PvP, and they're a currency that you can spend in Asgard when you guys eventually get there. You will see Valkyrie, who's a vendor, and she sells PvP rings. So these are rings that we specifically customized to be good for PvP, though you can use them anywhere in the game. And they cost a certain amount of golden crowns. And like our other vendors, you can refresh her stock in order to get stuff that's your level. So it's not like it's only level 60 items or only level 20 items. You can hit refresh and you can get stuff that's appropriate for you. The higher level the item, the more golden crowns it costs. I think if you're fairly low level, around 30 crowns.
I think it's around 1-to-1, level to
something like that. I do not know. It's something that we're currently balancing. And like everything else, if you guys are checking out the PvP rings and you think one's too powerful, not powerful enough, anything in between, let us know in the forums. That's stuff that we're going to be looking at.
Absolutely.
All right. Ryan, any questions for us?
How's the match going?
They want to know more about the objective of how you win a match with PvP.
Sure.
We described the basics of how the match works.
So you can see right now we're actually in a really good place. If you look up on the screen, we've got two kind of ring circles there, rock rings, where two defenders used to be. The red team, the fire team here, has managed to defeat those two defenders. When you defeat two defenders, the next set or pair of defenders, their immunity shield drops, and you can go and defeat them. There's 3 pairs of defenders that grow, if I understand it correctly, they grow in power, so they have more health, and they hit a lot harder down the pathway. And at the very end of the pathway, right in front of the enemy base, is a Guardian. And this guy hits really hard, he's really big, and if you defeat him, you win the match.
Right. Yeah, that's simple as that.
They're asking, what is the average match length?
That varies. So that was asked what the average match length is, and it varies. Our goal is to get it somewhere in the neighborhood of like 15 20 minutes.
We've seen
it's a little long right now. I'd say the average match is probably closer to 25, 30 minutes.
No, I've seen matches on Test Center that have ended in less than 10 minutes.
Sure.
But they definitely have a chance to grow. One of the things that I think we've designed into this is we're hoping, and this is one of our design goals, I believe, and you can speak to this more, is a little bit of a rubber banding effect. Obviously, the defenders serve that in some way, and the runes in some way do that, although to varying degrees, so that a team that's losing doesn't just feel like, oh, we lost our first pair of defenders, we're done with. And you can see right now, even though the red team's making a good push, the fire team is making a great push, the ice team hasn't just rolled over. They're fighting back. They're making great progress here in the center. They've kind of built a line. So Fire isn't even able to make pressure on those that second line of defenders.
Right.
So there's some rubber banding that's allowing the matches to run a little longer than we'd probably like. But yeah, the goal is 15, 20, cap out at somewhere around 30 minutes.
And just to be clear, rubber banding sort of, I know it's like a dirty word because when you say rubber banding, people think of Mario Kart where, I'm in last place, so I get to wreck everyone. The goal here isn't to make it so that the people who are winning get punished. The goal is to make it that if you're losing, you don't feel like you're doomed.
Or you're out of options,
Right. It should feel like, okay, we're obviously behind the 8 ball here, but we still have a chance to come back, rally, and win the match. And we'll be making tweaks, as
to serve that goal
through the life of PvP to make sure that it feels as balanced as possible. We don't want people feeling like, getting an early lead is bad, and we don't want people thinking like, they destroyed our first 2 sets of defenders, we're done. That's kind of the basics. Some more advanced things, as you can see, one of the things that ICE was doing before to hold the line is they were staying with their golems. Because the golems, they hit fairly hard, but the main thing that they do is they can hold the attention of the defenders. So the defender AI is really important. It's something I'd like to mention.
Yeah.
The defender will target the first thing that comes into range. and it will continue to hit that target until that target is destroyed or until the target moves out of range. And you can tell what it's targeting based on the little laser sight that's coming out of it. However, it will always switch targets if this is always such a complicated thing to say.
Yeah.
It will always switch targets if one of its allied heroes is attacked by an enemy hero that's in range. So that gets dangerous, because if your hero has a lot of AoEs and you're attacking near a defender, the defender will immediately switch to you and bombard you. Another thing to note about the defenders, very important.
Yeah.
Defenders are only damaged by basic attacks.
Oh yeah, super important.
They are not damaged by anything other than a basic, and you can tell which attacks are basics by mousing over them, and in the tooltip, you'll see basic right there.
Yeah.
And these are typically they don't cost any spirit attacks, but there are some that fall outside of that category.
Absolutely.
So we're going to do a key giveaway to the next questions that we're answering right now.
Okay.
So I just want to let you guys know you should announce that.
Yeah. So we are giving away keys here. What are we giving away keys for?
We're giving away the Loki Hero Pack.
Oh, you're getting the Loki Hero Pack. Loki is so awesome right now. Loki's really fun to play. He's very different from a lot of our other heroes. And the Loki bundle, I believe, comes with Loki and both of his costumes. Does it come with anything else?
It comes with
his stash.
It comes with his stash.
His stash.
Oh, it comes with a few other goodies as well.
So
okay.
yeah, the Loki bundle comes with his stash, a few other goodies, and we're going to give it away for the next question, I believe.
Yes.
And we have more than just this one key, so if you don't get it, stick around.
Yeah, we'll keep going.
Yeah,
we have more than one key for Loki. See what I did there? Hilarious. I'm gonna leave.
So Cesarki asked, so you're gonna have to repeat this. If you can save the runestones after your match for later, or if you have to spend them by the end.
So the question was, Cesarki asked, can you save your runestones after the match so that you can use them in the next match?
The answer is no.
No.
No, you should, as you get your runestones, it's for this match only. One thing to mention, so you use the runestones to buy runes. Most of the runes will stack, so when you buy one, the price will go up a little bit, and then you can continue to buy it and the price will keep going up.
Yes.
So there's always something to buy that'll be useful. And the idea is that as you're playing the match and collecting runestones, your hero is getting more and more powerful, which makes the defenders less and less of a threat.
And
but obviously your opponents are also getting stronger, so there is, sometimes you need to choose, okay, which runes do I want depending on what runes my opponents are using.
And to be clear, both the runes and the runestones that we're talking about are temporal. They're just for the match. When you start a match, when you're standing in that staging area of your base, you can go shopping. We've given you 50 runestones to start, and you'll be able to go shopping for whatever runes you think will help you start the match pretty strong. Then, go from there.
Yeah.
The next question from Jay Boku is, can you teleport quickly back to your area to purchase, or do you have to run back?
Jay Boku. Okay, the next question from Jay Boku is, can you teleport back to your base, or do you have to run all the way back?
Yes, you can. The body slider in PvP will immedially warp you to your base. It does have a short cooldown on it, but it's much shorter. A minute?
Yeah.
You're the one who said it.
The cooldown right now is a minute. You can warp back to your base right away, go shopping, and then using your movement powers. And
another cool thing about being at your base is wherever you're in your base, which is marked by that sort of golden ring section, you're actually getting healed at an incredibly fast rate. And if an enemy steps in there, they're going to get killed extremely quickly.
And this was not in, I don't believe this was in the test center build that people were playing.
The first one it was not, but I fixed that.
Okay.
You should die in about 2 seconds. And I mean literally 2 seconds, because I'm pretty sure it does 50% of your health every second.
Yeah, I mean you can test that if you like, but I think you're going to find very quickly, steer clear of your enemy base.
And that's another advantage that a losing team is getting, is that they're now the front line is now closer to their base, so they have an easier time retreating back to their base, getting all their health back and coming back.
And maybe going shopping.
And might be going shopping. And as the match wears on, the amount of time it takes to respawn after you die increases.
Yeah.
So
we haven't really talked about that much. Do you want to?
Sure.
You kind of said it, but
whenever you die, you fall down just like in every other area of the game. You can be revived by a teammate, but obviously that's very difficult. If you choose to respawn, you immediately reappear back at base, but you can't move or take any actions for a short time.
Or be
displayed
damaged
on the screen. Yeah, you're also totally invincible. You can, however, still make purchases at the vendor if you want to take a look or buy any runes. And when that time's up, you are no longer invincible, but you can now move and take actions and you can keep going. the amount of time increases as the match goes on. So you're penalized more and more for dying later in the game.
Again, you can be resurrected by someone on your team. I know some people have ultimate powers they can resurrect their entire team. That can be very useful here.
Yeah, and a late game res can be really
huge.
beneficial.
Yeah, that's a long run back.
What you'll see is if you can wipe the other team, you can make a real push on their defenders, and that's obviously a huge advantage.
Yeah.
So I think that answers that question.
Great.
So I cannot pronounce. Roxio asked, will the power cooldowns be tuned by power, or are they tuned by type? For example, every dash power, will it have the same cooldown?
Oh, I'm going to take this one.
Yeah, the question was from Roski.
We can't pronounce your name, dude.
Sorry.
Ragzeal.
Ragzeal? Okay, Ragzeal. The question is, will the power cooldowns be tuned by type, so all like movement powers, or are they going to be tuned on a per power basis?
The long answer is per power basis. We started by basically setting some ground rules, like, okay, movement powers, they need to have a cooldown so people aren't constantly running away and chasing each other. Anything that CCs people, obviously, crowd control is really powerful in PvP, so we wanted to regulate that a little bit. However, we are going to go on a character-by-character basis. Some characters have way more CC powers than others. Some heroes may potentially feel really crippled because everything they do has some sort of CC on it.
Yeah.
But maybe it's not as powerful as some other people's CC. The bottom line is we're going to go on a hero-by-hero basis to make sure that every hero is fun and viable in PvP.
Yeah.
That's the goal. And that answers that question?
I hope so, yeah. Sounded good to me.
The next question is from Mob251 King. Has anything been done to close the gap between range heroes and melee heroes?
Ooh, that's a good one. The question is, and we've seen this all over the forums as well, has anything been done from, what was the name again?
Mob251 King.
Mob251 King asked, has anything been done to reduce the disparity between melee and ranged heroes?
Yes. One of the main reasons that we asked for, I mentioned this earlier in the live stream, but I know some of you might be just tuning in. So we have the ability on a per hero basis to adjust the amount of damage they take in PvP. And so one of the things that we've done for some of our heroes, and I don't believe it's not necessarily melee versus range, though we know that the melee guys generally need it more, is we've already gone in and made some tunings to say that they take less damage in PvP. We know that a melee hero, obviously he's got to close the distance, and the ranged heroes are much more mobile and much harder to get a hand on, and that the time it takes to close that gap can really hurt even a very defensive hero or a hero with a lot of regeneration. So that is something that we're looking at. And again, if we have a hero that should be really tough and really durable, but really just isn't in PvP, we can use that as one of our tools to make that hero play the way that we'd like him to.
So one thing I noticed we haven't really talked about much is if you hit the tab key so we can pull up the score screen, this is another feature that while you're running the game, you can kind of pull up the score screen and see how the match is going. We're showing kills, deaths, your current runestones, and your whole team's current runestones, minion damage, player damage, total damage you're outputting, and also total damage you're taking. So we'll bring this up at the end of the match as well, automatically for you when the match ends. But during the match, you can kind of see how things are going, and maybe try to figure out which targets are best to avoid or best to go take out.
Yeah, and that screen, not only how it looks, but what's displayed on it, is something that we'll constantly be iterating on. So if you have ideas of something that you guys would like to see, let us know. We have heard that people want assists. That has been something that we've talked about a lot internally. So that's something we're aware of. I don't have an ETA on that, but it's definitely something that a lot of us here would like to do.
Yeah.
The next question is from Deadly Blind, and they're asking how we plan to handle people who just go AFK.
Deadly Blind asked how we handle AFK.
Oh, I'll let you take this one.
Oh boy. So yeah, that's actually something we have all talked about a lot, and it's something we want to address, and it's something we hope to address soon.
Yeah.
We're going to be detecting AFK, which is something we haven't really been doing in the game thus far, I don't believe.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be detecting AFK we are going to, you can talk to what we do once we do that.
I believe the current plan, and this may be subject to change,
Yeah.
but the current plan is if we detect that you're AFK, you'll basically be given a heads up like, hey, you're AFK, you need to not be AFK.
Absolutely.
I don't know how many warnings you're going to get, but enough that, you know, if you got up to go to the bathroom or something, you're not going to come back and be tossed. But if you stay AFK, you'll be booted from your match, which is obviously going to hurt your team.
And you won't get credit.
You
for
won't get
win or
any
loss.
credit, and you'll also be unable to join a PvP match for a duration.
And is that just a PvP match or an X Defense or any
I
other
think
queued
that's,
match?
I'm not sure.
That's
I
yet
don't
to be
know.
determined, it sounds like. So certainly not something we want people to be doing, and we will be taking action soon to address those problems.
Yes.
Yeah. Great.
Any other questions, Ryan?
Replay XS is wondering if the crowns are going to be tradable.
Replay XS has asked, will crowns be tradable?
No, they are not. Crowns are currently a currency like credits, so it's not an item. Like, oh, are they? No, they're an item. They're an item. Sorry. I don't believe they're tradable. That is something we can talk about, but I think keeping them as a reward for you it seems to be the right
But you
way
can
to
use
do
them
it.
for any of your avatar. Like
Yes,
it's
it's in your inventory, so you can use it for any hero that you have.
Great, yeah. It's not locked to the avatar you're PvPing with.
Correct.
Fantastic. How's this match going? Looks like a lot of deaths over here. Oh, pretty even.
Well, somewhat even.
We'll have to see how the defender situation's looking. It looks like Fire is definitely still got one defender on Fire's front line.
And yes, I know he's facing the wall. I will fix it. I promise.
Yes.
I promise I'll fix it.
I've been giving him a hard time. It's my fault.
It's not just you. Don't zoom in on it. Don't just walk over there.
Oh,
Show my shame to the world.
Yeah.
So Luffy.
We do because we care.
Luffy Long Series of Numbers. It asks, can you join an ongoing game if somebody quits a match?
Luffy, and then some numbers, apologies, asked if you can join an ongoing game if someone quits. Now, the way we've set up the queue for this particular match type is we feel because of rune stones and rune purchases that someone joining a game pretty late is just not going to be able to make the same effect on the game that they'd probably like to have, and it'd probably be an unpleasant thing to queue up a match in progress, as people have noted in the X Defense as well. Mm-hmm. So as it stands now, for the first couple minutes of a match, people will be able to jump in, but once a match hits a certain threshold of time, which is, I don't know, a handful of minutes, the door for the queue is pretty much shut down, so if there's a lever, the team will be short a man.
Yeah.
Or lady.
Or lady.
Does that answer the question?
Perfect.
Perfect. And like you may have missed it earlier, if you're just joining us now, when you start a match, you're going to get the match invite just like you would to X Defense. The match doesn't start for a minute, so you have a minute to get into the match, to go shopping, to kind of greet and meet your team before everything gets started.
You also, just like X Defense, it's the same kind of queue system, so you can queue up and then go do whatever you want anywhere
Absolutely.
in the game while you're waiting for the queue.
And you'll be able to queue with a team, as you can see here.
Yes.
We've got we obviously had 2 full teams of guys queued up, and they got put in together as a team.
Right. So if you want to queue with your buddies, you can totally do that.
Yeah, you
You'll
want
be
to
on the same
roll.
team.
You want to roll with a PvP squad. You can make it happen.
And I'm sure many of you do.
We've already seen some of that in Test Center. It was a lot of fun. Looked like a lot of fun, yeah.
So Zelda Fanatic 15 is wondering if you can basically kick a match without 5-on-5, if it can be 3-on-3.
Zelda Fanatic 15, you said, is asking if you can kick a match without it being a full 5-on-5 match. Oh, the answer is no. No, you can't. You could probably speak to the design reasons for this. This is, while I have participated during testing in one-on-one matches, sorry to the people whose butt I kicked. It's really, whether it's the golems, whether it's the defenders, whether it's the gladiators, it's really designed for 5-on-5 combat. It's something we could think about, but right now, when you queue up, the game will kick as soon as we have 10 people in that level range ready to go.
Yeah, it's something we might adjust, but what we don't want is to get in a situation where we might not have even teams. And then we have some queuing things. We're like, okay, we kicked it off with 8 people. We got one guy who wants to join, so we have to wait for another guy to join. Our goal is to get you into a match as fast as we can.
Yeah, so you can go do what you want to do, and then when you're ready to, you want to have the experience, a good PvP experience, and we believe that's it. This has been tuned so that 5-on-5 is a good PvP experience. So we're going to wait till that's available for you to invite you to the match. The other thing is when we don't have those numbers, we found it takes longer. We talked about 15 to 30 minutes. That's even with 5 people. Yeah. So I think there's lots of good reasons that it's like that.
For now.
For now. Definitely for now. Oh, that what's next for PvP? Do you have any?
All I can say is that this is not going to be our only PvP mode. We'll have some more competitive modes coming. We can't talk about them right now.
Okay.
I'm not even sure when we can talk about them, but we do.
But there is more coming.
There is more coming. We've already started work on some other stuff.
Great.
So
and we're not leaving this by the wayside by any means. We are hopelessly devoted to making this fun for everyone and balancing it for everyone, as Andrew's mentioned before. But so yeah.
Yeah. This mode is something that we will support for the life of this product. You know, we're going to keep balancing.
Absolutely.
We're going to make sure that it's as fun as possible.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of fun. When I've been playing, it's.
Yeah.
I'm partial.
Yeah,
I'm partial. Believe it or not.
Kind of hard for me.
Believe it or not, everyone.
Yeah. Anyway, Ryan, any more questions? I'm sure there's plenty.
Plenty.
Oh, great. Sorry to keep talking. Well, questions.
Give me a moment. So, Mr. Straight to HE double hockey sticks is wondering if we will block certain powers like ultimates, or can we use any power in PvP?
Okay, so the question from Straight to
You can say
Straight to Hell is, will any powers be just completely removed for PvP?
such as ultimates.
Such as ultimates or yeah.
Right now the answer is no. We don't really want to do that because we want you to look, you've earned these powers through playing the game. We want you to be able to use them in PvP. Now what that may mean is that the powers will get balanced differently in PvP, so an ultimate might not be, you know, I don't know. Ultimates right now, it's interesting because ultimates are so powerful.
Yeah.
But the cooldown basically means you're only going to really get 1, maybe 2 off in a match.
And you can't really use them on because of what we said earlier about basic attacks.
Yeah.
They're not going to be effective at defenders. They're not going to be effective at dropping that guardian.
Right. But again, we may make some changes. Obviously, you know, there's some signature powers in there, for example, that are extremely dangerous at the moment.
Yes.
And we may be adjusting the cooldowns or the damage on those. Again, we don't want you to feel like your hero got nerfed in PvP. That's not the goal. Even if the damage is reduced from what you see in PvE, we still want you to feel like this super high damaging move is still a super high damaging move.
Yeah, it's a signature power. It's an ultimate power.
But at the same token, the ability to push a button and completely kill everyone on the opposing team in one hit and there's nothing they can do about it, fun for you, not fun for them. And ultimately probably not much fun for you because you're going to get bored wiping the floor with everyone you fight long term.
Yeah. Or
so yeah,
yeah.
I think it's unlikely that we're going to ban a power.
Yeah.
That seems very unlikely.
Yeah, very. Yeah, I don't see us ever doing.
I wouldn't rule it out, but I'd be very surprised.
Cool.
Sorry, people are being funny.
Nerfing Daredevil?
Daredevil, you guys, come
you guys
on.
Are cruel.
That's
You're mean.
Just mean.
How's the match going? Let's talk about this match.
The match, so it looks like Gargantuan
It looks like they're sort of at a stalemate at the moment.
Yeah,
I've seen a lot of play
I think
in
I've
the
seen
middle
progress
of
on
the
both sides. Defenders are dropped. First line of defenders. How are we doing on second line of defenders against Ice?
I can't tell.
Wow, looks like Gargantuan's having a hard time here pinning down
Black Widow.
Helga, yeah. But
She's confusing us.
I fought him the other day. It was hard
costume.
to yeah.
Well, there's some heroes that their advantage is that they're difficult to pin down. There's other heroes that can just eat a ton of hits.
Yep.
What's fun about this is because the variety of our heroes and the variety of powers, it's fun to get all these different matchups, and it's interesting to see. And we're just starting to see which hero. Okay, so you picked Cable, so these heroes will beat Cable, or you picked Iron Man, and this is a great Iron Man beater.
Yeah. There we go. Gargantuan just ran back behind his defenders and healed all the way up, and now is going.
Right. Oh,
try
watch
to take
out.
down. Oh,
Watch
Haven's so
out.
close. Oh yeah. Okay, sorry, that was exciting.
I have a good question.
All right,
Movement
let's
power.
hear it.
So movement power is real quick. Movement power is
Oh.
so interesting because a lot of them have cooldowns now, as people have noticed, which means maybe you in the PvE game, as I've been playing, I've noticed it's a big transition you have to make because when you're using a movement power in the PvE game, I know often I just spam it, right? I'm going for fast movement. I'm going to be flying or I'm going to be jump, dodge roll, dodge roll to get where I'm going. In PvP, that is not the experience. That if you have just a single movement power, often you have to decide, am I going to engage or am I going to run away with this power? And it could be 8 seconds before I can use it again, so that's a really exciting moment to decide to chase someone down. Like when we saw Helga running away there, Gargantuan had to decide, I'm going to go all out, I'm going to teleport forward, and then maybe get caught with the enemy golems. That's a dangerous move, but he turned out he got the kill. That was pretty rad. So It's a big change of pace from the PvE game.
And it's something that we'll be toying with the cooldowns on
absolutely.
those as
Absolutely.
we get more metrics and you guys give us feedback.
Yep.
But
Sorry,
you said you had a
another
good question,
yeah.
Ryan.
Sorry, I'm getting tons of good questions.
Oh, great.
That's awesome.
Sorry.
Hit it up.
Trench Commando had asked if they will be able to at some point see their cooldowns and their PvP stats outside of PvP.
Oh, so Trench Commando asked, will you be able to see your PvP cooldowns and stats outside of PvP?
Yes. It's definitely something we want to do. We want you guys to be able to understand before you get into a match what your powers are going to do. Not just cooldowns, but if there are any adjustments whatsoever, we want it to be something that you guys can see in the tooltips for your powers before you get into the match. We're still discussing how exactly we want to do that because we also don't want to bombard you with, right now you mouse over some powers and there's some fairly big details depending on the power, and we don't want to like double that because now, also in PvP, which you may not care about at that moment when you're looking at the power. So we're still trying to figure out how to do that as cleanly and as nice as possible.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something we'd like to do.
Absolutely. Cool.
I want to ask you guys.
Okay.
Oh.
Fine.
So, of the characters you guys have played, who have had the most fun with the PvP? You'll have to repeat my question.
Okay, so the question is, of all the characters we've played, who have we had the most fun with in PvP? I know what your first answer is going to be. Let's hear it.
Spider-Man's a lot of fun.
Yay!
But when I say that he's fun, I also mean that he's massively overpowered right now.
I have
He
been
does
on
a
the other
ton of
end of
damage.
that.
Oh. Uh-oh. I'm getting a stare down. Don't taunt me and walk away.
Oh.
The people want to see you.
Yeah, stop on by.
At least give
We've
away.
got a special guest.
I said, at least
come on,
give away.
away.
I'm not
Yeah.
interrupting this
Oh.
live stream.
You
We're in
can
the
just
middle
hop
talking about
ahead.
our favorite PvP.
David Brevik,
Heroes.
everyone.
Yeah.
Oh, he's out. He's out.
It was just a photo bomb.
Okay.
And now 5 million questions
Okay,
for David
back to
Brevik.
back to
So Spider-Man's
Spider-Man.
a lot of fun. Yes, he's overpowered, but I do like his
I know-
general play style.
I know you a little bit. I know you like Hulk. What's
God.
the story?
Hulk needs a little bit of love right now, but Hulk, if spec properly, can be a crazy defender diver.
Yeah.
Because if you can get the defender to ignore you, and you can get the other people to ignore you, you can just slam on that turret with Hulk mad, and with if the defender is shooting you, Hulk tough can help you withstand that, and then you can jump away or charge away when you need to. Unfortunately, in my opinion, Hulk's one of the dudes who needs a little bit of a boost.
Yeah.
He's a melee guy who he's got a hard time pinning people down.
Absolutely. Especially characters like Black Widow or Spider-Man.
Right.
He can like we talked about before with the movement powers, you can do a stomp in and just if your CC doesn't go off, you're in trouble if it's
Right.
dodged. It's
But he is a character that we did give him a little bit of a defensive boost for PvP only. We'll see how that plays. Obviously, there's a lot of work to go. Schramm.
I've been all over the board from Human Torch to Iron Man to Hulk to I think lately I've been playing a lot of Cable, just playing with the utility. I mean, we're seeing some of it here, the projectile reflection, the auras for the team,
Yeah.
that really long range rifle, that's a basic attack. I mean, that's pretty rad. Along with the heal, I know you have health packs, but his heals, I love dropping down that the projectile reflection wall early on.
Oh.
You can do a lot. If you notice, the golem sets, they come in pairs. There's one melee golem and there's one range golem. So something I like to do is I like to drop, and I don't think he's got it slotted right now, which is okay. Whether it's a vortex grenade or the projectile
barrier?
reflection kinetic barrier down between my line and their line of ranged golems, and all of a sudden you've taken the ranged golems out of the fight. It's great.
Yeah.
So it's little stuff like that that's a lot of fun to play with. Obviously, you know, I have a lot of fun with all the heroes. It's kind of a puzzle trying to figure out, because it's so different than PvE. Every time you get into a match, what are you going to try this time that's a little different, that solves some of the problems you don't normally run into?
And it also very much depends on who you're fighting.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So I find, like, when a match starts, I'll go to the score screen to see the portraits of my opponents.
Brilliant.
And that'll sometimes determine what the runes I buy. Ryan was going to throw a question at us.
Yeah.
I was going to throw a question in. So some players are asking about different cooldowns and why they exist for certain characters and certain powers.
Okay.
So I figured, Andrew, if you can give some insight, for instance, Jean Grey, where a lot of her AoEs have cooldowns, and that's a lot of it. So players are asking specifically about that.
In case people didn't hear that, the question was, can we get a glimpse into the decision-making process when determining cooldowns for different powers, different heroes?
Before I get into that, I do want to say, like we said before, we'll be adjusting cooldowns on a per-character basis. We did have some sort of overall guidelines for what we wanted to put cooldowns on, and I can talk about that. So, a couple things. Movement powers. When we first did the mode, there were no cooldowns on movement powers. And what that really boiled down to is you could never kill anyone. Because the moment anyone lost even a little bit of health, they just burn all their spirit to run back to base or to run away or do whatever. And it took forever, and it made it feel like a slog. And there wasn't a lot of tactics to it. It felt like you were constantly just kind of banging off each other, and there was never this fight. So anything that was a movement power, we put a cooldown on. Not to make it impossible, but to make it that you have to commit to a fight. Anything that caused CC was something that we put a cooldown on. Now, the amount of cooldown would vary depending on the length and severity of the CC. So, for example, some of you guys have pointed out that some movement powers have longer cooldowns than other movement powers. Well, that's because 90% of the time, that movement power that has a longer cooldown also has CC on it. We've got a lot of rolls that also stun people and things like that. And so we needed to give it the stun cooldown because, as I'm sure you've noticed if you played the mode, I'm sure if you played the mode, you've noticed that getting CC'd is incredibly dangerous.
Oh, yeah.
Because once you get locked down, the defenders can take you, the opposing team can gang up on you, so it's very powerful. So we wanted to make sure that any CC power was properly regulated. Now, that isn't to say that we totally nailed it with exactly what our cooldown numbers are, and that they should be exactly the same for every character, because, you know, some people might, I'm making this up, some people might have a stun power that doesn't do a lot of damage, and someone else has a stun power that does a lot of damage. And, well, maybe we want to look at that and reconsider those may not have the same cooldown. That's just one example. That's kind of where we started. There were a couple insanely damaging powers that we increased the cooldown on, some of the signature powers like for Spider-Man and Iron Man. Also, anything that healed you was something that we wanted to put a cooldown on because, again, we didn't want a situation where Hero A has a heal and Hero B doesn't, so Hero A is constantly just moving away, getting back to full health, and Hero B is just hosed. There's nothing he can do about it.
Yeah.
Again, that's something we're still playing with. Obviously, medkits help everybody out quite a lot. But that's kind of our general feeling on the cooldowns. Yeah, so
that's something we haven't mentioned yet. All the vendors sell medkits. So if you find if you find yourself flat-footed, you get in a match, you're like, oh no, where's my medkits? All three of the PvP vendors sell them for the same price you're going to see everywhere else.
Credits, not
so just pick up credits, not rune stones, just so everyone's on the same foot there.
Yeah.
This one is kind of an easy one for Mr. Rubino here.
All right.
How did what type of damage do the defenders do?
Okay, the question is, what type of damage do the defenders and guardians do?
We're talking, is it physical energy?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. You stumped me.
I know.
Do you know?
It's physical.
It's physical damage.
I just set that up.
You just made that up?
No, I didn't make that up.
Oh,
I just set that up.
Oh, okay. Apparently they do physical damage.
Pretty sure it's physical damage.
That may or may not change, depending on what... some heroes are obviously better at mitigating certain types of damage, and we don't want to make it so that we don't necessarily want to make it so that, oh well, I mitigate physical damage, so I'm automatically better than someone who's better at mitigating energy damage. It's something we'll play with. We could also make them do
Split.
what I'll call neutral damage, and
Yeah.
it's being applied to all the defenses. But right now, apparently, it's physical.
I believe it's physical.
Look at that.
I'll
Food for thought.
but yeah, if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain.
If we're wrong, we'll post to the forums, and
Yeah,
we'll tell you that we're
absolutely.
wrong.
And yeah, any feedback on the forums, totally appreciated. Everyone who's already been posting. Obviously, there's a PvP forum that's been moderately inactive because there hasn't been a lot of PvP.
Because there hasn't been any.
But we'll be there. I'll be there. I don't know if I mentioned our forum names.
Our
at the
forum
beginning.
names are up on the thingy, but we can mention them.
I don't know if
again.
they're again. Yeah.
Oh, look at that.
I'm Yeti Sandwich. We got.
He's very proud of his Yeti, but it's not
so
a sandwich.
cool. It's a Yeti. This is the Yeti I made the sandwich out of.
Oh, I see.
There you go. And this.
And I'm Admiral Crusher.
Yeah.
That's me.
Yep.
If you were trying to put a face.
Now we
on
can go
it.
back to the game. Sorry.
I feel like the game's prettier than us. That's a theory.
That's true.
Any more questions, Ryan?
There was, and this is kind of a general question, about how much do you guys feel that gear makes a difference versus things like runestones and power? For PvP.
So the question is, and I'll leave this one to you.
Man.
How much of a difference do you think gear versus runestones makes a difference in PvP? Is that included powers as well?
Yeah. So yeah.
Yeah, gear versus runestones. What's the difference?
Okay.
What is more important?
The first thing I want to say before I answer this question is I don't know this for sure. We do have metrics that are going to help us out by answering this definitively. I can give you my educated guess, which is it depends on the time of the match. At the beginning of the match, obviously not a lot of people have runestones, so your gear is going to be very important. If in any of the tiers, obviously the higher level characters can get higher level gear and will simply be better in that regard. I mentioned earlier that lower level players will get a bit of a damage buff, but that doesn't necessarily make up for the fact that, particularly at lower levels, you might have gear that gives you access to a skill that you weren't supposed to have at this level.
Power disparity. There's also health disparity that's still left.
I would say, and obviously at level 60, item is going to be incredibly important because you're going to have guys who've been running the cow level for the past 10 months. I think
Along with Dex defense.
But they've done it for 10 months somehow. They found a temporal anomaly.
Yeah.
But I digress. Runes, however, are extremely powerful.
Oh, yeah.
Because they do things like raise your damage by 10%.
And
now,
that
obviously,
stacks.
that's going to stack. Now, obviously, when I say raise your damage by 10%, that includes your powers and your items already. But over time, that's going to get really significant if you keep buying those runes.
And we're actually seeing that in action right now. We're 11 stacks of the damage rune in, and Gargantuan is just walking around.
Oh, and we're up that Guardian's almost.
Yeah, we're up at the Guardian. So here we are. At the Guardian, you can see at the beginning of the match, he would not have been able to go to take a shot from that Guardian, but right now, with all of his rune buying, you can see in the bottom right of the screen, he can actually mouse over those as well to get tooltips. But
thank you.
He has a ton of runes bought, and he is just way more deadly than when he entered the match.
I would say that runes are incredibly important, and you will be substantially more powerful if you use them. I don't think you can be successful in PvP if you're not.
If you're not carefully purchasing runes.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, does that mean? I mean, yeah. When the match starts, you don't have that many runes, but in the late, if you can prolong a match, if you can make it go longer, good rune selection is going to make a big difference.
But I do want to be clear that the runes are not so powerful that your items or your powers are pointless, because all the runes are adding on top of what you already
absolutely.
have.
A lot
it's
of
very
them are
important
multipliers. Yeah.
How you build your hero as well. And I hope that answers the question. Mr. Collins?
Yeah, I think you definitely did.
Thank you.
They're asking about your mustache.
About my seriously about my mustache?
What mustache? I don't see a mustache.
Doomsaw was fooling.
Yeah,
I'm working.
He's got a little dirt on his upper
It's
lip.
Movember. I'm working on it.
I shaved this morning.
This is not for me. This is for Movember.
Oh,
it looks like Beth
Fire is victorious.
Look at that.
Robin
So
does
this
a little
is
dance.
So we'll walk you through a little bit, and then we'll answer some more questions. But this is something I hope all of you get to see. The end screen. Big victory had by the Fire team as they defeated the Ice Guardian.
Yeah.
They've got about 60 seconds here to gloat. You can't hurt the other team anymore. You can walk into their base. There's actually, if you hit space right now, we can close that screen, and you can there's a teleporter that'll get you back to Asgard.
Or you can just use your body slider, which will also take you to Asgard.
Yeah, and you can head back to Asgard, where you will be placed right by the lovely Lady Sif, who is your mission reward giver. And we're actually going to do that right now. Heading to Odin's Palace. Do you want to walk us through this?
Sure. So you reappear in Odin's Palace. You talk to the good Lady Sif, and she will present you with your mission rewards.
Again, we talked about this earlier. You're seeing 2 Eternity Splinters, a golden crown, and then because Gargantuan won here, he's got 2 purple items in that mission reward. If he had lost, he'd have 1 purple item and 1 blue item, and that's something we mentioned before, but there's not a lot of difference between winning and losing in terms of items. But in addition, you're also going to get credits when this rewards.
There are the
credits
those
there.
up. And I should also mention that I believe if you win, you also have a chance to get a cosmic item.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
So,
and then you want to take a peek at
there's Valkyrie right
Valkyrie.
there. And here are the golden crown items, if you want to just mouse over a couple of those. So yeah. So you can buy items for using your golden crowns. And we can't show you this right now because the refresh button has already been used, but you can refresh those, I'm not sure how often, but fairly frequently.
I think it's a couple times an hour,
something like that. I don't know.
But there, and then obviously to your right where we're leaving you, you're right next to a waypoint. You can queue up again, do your shopping while you're waiting for the next match, and
and this is also Asgard. I know a lot of you who haven't been on Test Center haven't seen Asgard. This is the Asgard hub.
Oh my gosh, we're giving it all away.
I know. We're being naughty, but there it is.
There it is. It's so pretty.
And obviously this is just the beginning of our Asgard content. There is much more to come.
Indeed.
Oh, yes.
Indeed. Do you have more questions?
No, I think we are pretty much set to wrap it up.
Okay.
I think we did good.
All right.
Okay, thanks, guys.
So if you guys want to wrap it up, if there's more you want to say about what you're looking for feedback, also.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's always good to reiterate.
So please, by all means.
Oh, we're just talk a little bit about what we're looking for in terms of feedback and what kind of our goals are for PvP.
Well, I think there's several areas that we really want you guys' feedback in. First of all, number one thing you can do: play PvP. If you're playing PvP, we're getting metrics on your play, and that helps us immeasurably. If you have any comments at all, things like balanced, if you think something's too strong or too weak, and specific comments, not just, oh, Iron Man's too tough. Why is Iron Man too tough? Is he too hard to kill? Does he do too much damage? Is he too mobile? What do you think? And let us know on the forum. There's a whole PvP section. And we're checking that all the time.
Well, yeah. We'll probably also, maybe you can reiterate this because they can't hear me. We'll probably make more specific threads looking for specific feedback.
We will continue. I'm sure if you're on the forums, you see Doomsaw and a lot of other members of the staff will make threads where we're specifically asking for very specific feedback, and we're going to do that again here. Some other things, though, that we definitely want feedback on is the overall experience. You know, getting into PvP. Does it feel smooth? How does it feel to queue? Is there any type of UI or just quality of life stuff that you guys are missing and you'd like to see? We'd also like to know about the rewards. Do you feel like PvP is adequately rewarding you for the play? Is there something you'd like that isn't there? Any thoughts to that at all?
Yeah, the ring rewards as well.
And also technical stuff. Do you run into any bugs? Does it feel laggy? Does it feel like the frame rate goes down in certain circumstances?
Absolutely.
And again, if you can be specific, don't just say the frame rate goes down in combat. What's happening? Is it a certain hero? Where were you? What level were you? These are kind of information that will really help us
and
out.
you guys have all been really good about this. We've been reading
generally.
the Test Center forums. We're getting a lot of that great feedback. We're just asking for more. Is it possible? Are we going to be doing more PvP on the Test Center?
That's a good thing to mention. When will Test Center be up? Do you have an idea?
We will be putting something new into Test Center tonight, at some point tonight. So it'll be up for the weekend. It'll have some changes, like mostly performance changes for optimizations, and PvP will be open.
So it sounds like
you want to repeat that.
What we just heard from Ryan was that PvP and Test Center in general will be up with some performance optimizations tonight. Sometime? As soon as tonight. When that occurs, PvP will be available. Mm-hmm. Our metric stuff is all ready to go. So if you're playing matches,
and we've already done some tuning based on your feedback, so it will be different.
You can also say that Gambit is coming soon.
Oh yes, Gambit is
Oh.
coming soon. Ooh, we
Lots
will
of stuff.
mention
So
that.
a couple things to mention. Gambit coming soon
to Test Center.
To
to Test Center. This weekend, obviously, as you can see, bonus rarity weekend until November 18th at noon.
And that should help you guys not only to get the fat loots for yourself, but for those of you contributing to Mr. Fantastic in Norway, this should help you find
Unlock
the items that
Asgard,
you
yeah.
need
Okay.
to unlock Asgard even faster.
Yeah.
And I think that might be it.
I think we're ready.
Thanks a bunch,
All right.
guys. This has been great.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. So I'm Andrew Rubino,
I'm Andrew Schramm.
and thank you guys for watching the Marvel Heroes PvP live stream.
Thanks a bunch, guys.
Thanks, guys.